Ladies and gentlemen, friends, I want to speak to you today from the depths of my heart, because I believe there are many listening who feel like something precious has slipped through their fingers. Maybe it's time, maybe it's opportunity, maybe it's relationships, or maybe it's just the deep, gnawing sense that you've somehow missed your moment. You look back on your life and think of all the things you should have done, could have done, or would have done if only things had been different. You feel like the years have passed you by, but I want to tell you something that can lift your soul and ignite your hope again. You haven't missed it. God is still at work, and He is restoring the years the locusts have eaten. Now, when I say the years the locusts have eaten, I'm borrowing language from the prophet Joel in the scriptures. Joel was speaking to a people who had been ravaged by destruction. Their land had been eaten up, their joy had been taken, and their future looked barren. But in the midst of that desolation, God gave a promise not of mere comfort, not just words to soothe their pain, but a powerful declaration: I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. What a promise! Not just blessings for the future, but restoration of the past. Not just a new beginning, but a redemption of what was lost. You see, God is not limited by time. He doesn't sit wringing His hands over what might have been. No, He is the God of what can be. He takes broken pieces and makes masterpieces. He takes wasted years and turns them into a testimony. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, but you don't know what I've done. You don't know the mistakes I've made. I've wasted too much time. Friend, let me tell you, there is no depth you can fall to where the grace of God cannot reach. There is no mess too great for Him to transform into a message of hope. Some of you are haunted by regret. Maybe you walked away from God for a season. Maybe you pursued things you thought would satisfy, only to end up emptier than before. Maybe you allowed fear to paralyze you, or sin to deceive you, and now the enemy whispers in your ear, it's too late, you've missed your chance. But that's a lie. The truth is, God is still calling your name. The truth is, your destiny hasn't expired. The truth is, your story isn't over. In the hands of God, delay does not mean denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. And just because you've gone through loss doesn't mean God has forgotten you. Sometimes the very wilderness we walk through becomes the training ground for what's coming. Sometimes the tears you've shed have watered the soil for a harvest you haven't seen yet. The enemy may have stolen from you, but God has a way of turning what the enemy meant for evil into something good. There are men and women in the pages of Scripture who thought they'd missed it. Moses spent 40 years in the desert thinking his time had passed, but God called him at 80. Sarah was old and barren, but God still gave her a child. The thief on the cross thought his life was over, but in his final breath he encountered salvation. Don't ever underestimate what God can do in the time you have left. He can do more in a moment than you can in a lifetime without Him. Maybe you're a young person and you feel like you've already messed up your future. Maybe you're older and feel like your best years are behind you. Let me tell you, with God, your best days can still be ahead. Restoration doesn't mean He simply gives you back what you lost. It means He can give you better than you ever had before. He can give you peace that you never knew, joy that runs deeper than circumstances, and purpose that gives meaning even to your pain. God is a restorer. He is a redeemer. He is not the author of shame, but the lifter of your head. And when He restores completely. He makes all things new, not just patched up versions of what used to be, but brand new beginnings. And if you will turn your heart toward Him, if you will trust Him and surrender your life into His hands, you will see that nothing has been wasted, not even your mistakes. So don't give up. Don't sit in the ashes of regret. Rise up in faith, lift your eyes and look again. The God who made you, the God who knows every tear you've cried, every silent prayer you've whispered in the dark, he is working, even now. And the same voice that spoke worlds into existence is speaking to you today. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. You haven't missed it, not with God. He's not finished with you yet. And maybe right now you're in a season where nothing seems to be changing. You've prayed, you've cried, you've waited, but the silence has stretched so long that you're starting to wonder if God is even listening. But He is. He hears every word, every groan that cannot even be put into words, and He's not just hearing, He's preparing. There is a hidden work of God happening behind the scenes of your life, a quiet weaving of grace and mercy and perfect timing. What feels like delay is not a denial. It's preparation. It's protection. Sometimes the very thing you're waiting for is being made ready while God is making you ready for it. You see, God doesn't just want to restore the things you've lost. He wants to restore you. He wants to strengthen your faith, purify your motives, deepen your trust. Because if He gave you everything you asked for when you asked for it, it might have destroyed you. But God in His wisdom knows when the time is right. And when that time comes, it will be like the pain never had the final word. The loss won't be the end of your story. The broken chapters will be rewritten by the author of life. I believe there are people listening who have carried shame for far too long. You carry it like a chain around your heart, believing that your past disqualifies you from a meaningful future. But the cross of Christ tells a different story. The blood that was shed wasn't just for the sin you committed yesterday. It was for the shame that still follows you today. It was for the guilt that tries to steal your sleep. It was for the lies that tell you God could never use someone like you. Listen to me. Grace is stronger than your past. Mercy is wider than your failure. And restoration doesn't begin with you being perfect. It begins with you being willing to believe that God's love is bigger than your mistakes. When Jesus walked this earth, He didn't spend time with people who had it all together. He touched the lepers, sat with sinners, healed the broken, and He's still doing that today. His Spirit still moves toward the weary, the outcast, the hopeless. He still restores sight to the blind, not just physically, but spiritually. Some of you have lost your vision. You've stopped dreaming. You've stopped believing that anything can be different. But God wants to restore your vision. He wants to give you new eyes to see not what has been, but what can be through His power. And let me tell you, when God begins to restore, you won't even recognize yourself. People will look at your life and ask, what happened? And you'll say, it was nothing but the grace of God. That's the kind of transformation He brings. Not just survival, but revival. Not just getting by, but walking in freedom and purpose. He doesn't simply fix what's broken. He makes it beautiful. He takes the ashes and gives beauty. He turns mourning into dancing. He replaces despair with praise. Some of you have lost years to addiction. Others have lost years to fear, insecurity, unforgiveness, or bitterness. But those years do not have to define you. When God restores, He doesn't look at you through the lens of your past. He sees who you are in Him. And He can accelerate your growth, redeem the time, and bring you to where you would have been if you had walked the straight path all along. That's how powerful His grace is. That's how deep His love runs. It's not too late. You haven't missed it. Even now, the Spirit of God is reaching into your heart, whispering hope where despair once lived. You may feel like a dry tree in the desert, but rivers of living water can still flow through you. You may feel like your dreams have died, but resurrection power is real. And the same God who raised the dead, who calmed the storm, who opened blind eyes, He's the same today. He hasn't changed, and He hasn't forgotten you. Lift your head, dare to believe again, dare to trust again. The enemy may have tried to write your ending, but he doesn't hold the pen. God does, and he is still writing. Restoration is not a fantasy. It is a promise. A promise backed by the character of a faithful God, a God who cannot lie, a God who always finishes what he starts. So wherever you are, however far you feel, come home, return to him with all your heart. Let the tears fall if they must. Let the walls come down. Let grace in. And when you do, you'll find that God was never far away. He was waiting, watching, longing to restore, to redeem, to renew, because you haven't missed it. Your story isn't over. Your purpose hasn't passed. And with God, the best truly is yet to come. And perhaps even now you sit in the quiet places of your life and wonder how the years slipped through your hands like sand. You think of all the roads you didn't take, the calls you ignored, the dreams you buried, and you begin to believe a lie, that it's too late, that you've gone too far, that nothing meaningful can be made from what remains. But I want to tell you again, with every ounce of conviction in my soul, that your life is not a pile of ruins to be mourned. It is a temple in progress, and the chief architect has not laid down his tools. The world might tell you that time lost is time wasted, but God tells a different story. He is not bound by the ticking of the clock or the turning of the calendar. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He steps into your past with mercy, walks with you in your present with grace, and lights the way forward with glory. And what man says cannot be recovered, God says can be redeemed. The lost years, those long seasons of wandering, those empty decades you thought were thrown away, God holds them, and he can use them as part of his divine purpose. The very pain you tried to forget, the very failures you tried to hide, the very tears that nobody saw, he saw every one, and not one of them has been wasted. It may not come the way you expect. Restoration does not always mean getting back exactly what you lost, but receiving something even better. Job in the scriptures lost everything, his family, his health, his wealth. But when God restored him, it was double what he had before. But more than material blessing, Job was given a deeper revelation of who God is. Sometimes the greatest restoration is not what you hold in your hands, but what God works in your heart. The peace you thought was gone forever, the joy you believed you'd never feel again, the hope that once lit your soul like fire. He is able to restore it all. There's something mysterious about how God works in the in-between places. We often think he's only at work when doors fly open or miracles fall from the sky. But some of his deepest work happens in the silence, in the long nights of waiting, in the painful places where we're tempted to give up. That's where roots grow deep. That's where character is formed. That's where trust is tested and refined like gold. And when the time is right, when your heart has been prepared and your eyes are lifted to him, he brings about a restoration that doesn't just change your situation, but transforms your soul. Some of you have spent years trying to fix yourself. You've read all the books, listened to all the advice, tried to turn over a new leaf more times than you can count. But human effort will never produce what only the Spirit of God can do. Transformation doesn't come from striving, it comes from surrender. You don't need to be perfect for God to restore you. You just need to be honest, honest about your need, honest about your pain, honest enough to say, God, I can't do this on my own. And when you come to him like that, with nothing but empty hands and a hungry heart, he meets you. Not with condemnation, not with lectures, but with arms wide open. He is not ashamed of you. He is not disappointed in you. He knows exactly who you are, and still, he calls you his own. That's grace. That's love. That's the heart of the Father. Maybe you're looking at a marriage that's been cold for years. Maybe you're watching a child drift away and feel powerless to reach them. Maybe your career has crumbled, your health has failed, your friendships have faded. Whatever has been lost, whatever has been broken, God is not done. He can breathe new life into old bones. He can bring spring to a winter that's lasted far too long. He can bring color to a world that's turned gray with sorrow. He can make the desert bloom again, but restoration begins with return. Return to Him, not just in word, not just in emotion, but in truth and surrender. The prodigal son in the parable had to get up from the pigpen and go back to the Father's house. And when he did, he found the Father wasn't standing with crossed arms, but running to embrace him. That's what God does. He runs to meet us the moment we turn, and He doesn't put us at the back of the line. He puts a ring on our finger and shoes on our feet. He throws a celebration because what was lost is found. Don't believe the lie that it's noble to stay stuck in shame. Don't let pride or pain keep you from walking into restoration. God wants to give you more than survival. He wants to bring you into abundance. Not always the abundance the world talks about, but the kind that fills the soul with purpose and power, with peace and perseverance, with love that cannot be shaken. And you, yes you, regardless of where you've been, what you've done, or how far you've fallen, you are not beyond the reach of His hand. You are not beyond the sound of His voice. The enemy wants you to think it's over, that you'll never recover, that the best is behind you. But the enemy is a liar. The truth is that your future is still alive. There is still breath in your lungs and a beating in your heart, and that means God still has plans for you. Sometimes the restoration starts small. A single act of obedience, a simple prayer whispered through tears, a decision to get up one more time, to trust one more day. Don't despise the small beginnings. They are seeds of a greater harvest. Water them with faith, guard them with prayer, and watch what God can grow from the soil of surrender. You may not understand how it will happen. You may not see the way forward, but you don't have to. You only have to trust the one who holds the map, the one who says, I will restore. That's not a suggestion. That's not wishful thinking. That's a promise, and He has never broken one of His promises. Keep walking, keep believing, keep your eyes on Him, because when the restoration comes, it won't be because you earned it. It will be because He is faithful. When the restoration comes, it won't just patch the cracks. It will renew the foundation. When the restoration comes, it will bring such beauty out of your ashes that people will ask how it happened, and all you will be able to say is, it was the Lord. And when He does it, give Him glory. Don't hide the scars, tell the story, because your restoration isn't just for you. It's for someone else who's watching, someone else who's wondering if God can do it for them too. Your life becomes a living testimony that with God nothing is wasted. Not the pain, not the loss, not the time, not the tears. So here you are, standing in this moment. Maybe all you have is a flicker of hope left, but that's enough. Give that little hope to God, and He will breathe on it. He will fan it into a flame. He will lift your head. He will restore your soul. He will give you back what you thought was gone for good, because He's not finished yet. He is still writing your story. He is still the God of restoration, and He is saying to you right now, you haven't missed it. So take heart, weary soul. Though the night has been long and the path uncertain, the dawn is coming. You may not feel it yet. You may not see the sun breaking through the clouds, but it is on its way. For the Lord is faithful to every promise He has made. He is not slow, as some count slowness, but patient, kind, and deliberate in His timing. He knows what you need before you even ask. He knows the battles you've fought in secret, the burdens you've carried without a word. And He is coming, not with judgment, but with healing in His wings. Do not measure your future by your failures. Do not let yesterday define who you are today. You are not forgotten. You are not too far gone. God doesn't consult your past to decide your future. He looks at you with eyes of mercy, and he sees what can be when his Spirit breathes upon your life. Restoration is not a distant dream. It's a living promise waiting to unfold. There's a holy work happening even now, deep beneath the surface of your pain. The seeds of hope are beginning to sprout. The barren places are receiving rain. The cracks in your foundation are being filled with the gold of grace. And though you may have walked through the fire, you will come out not burned but refined. You will emerge not empty but full, not defeated but victorious, because the God who restores is restoring even now. You haven't missed it. Your life is still unfolding in his hands, and he will make all things new. So as you stand at the crossroads of regret and hope, choose to believe again. Choose to trust that the God who knit you together in your mother's womb, who counted every hair on your head, is still working all things together for your good. The lost years, the broken seasons, the missed opportunities, none of it is beyond his reach. His grace is greater, his timing is perfect, and his plans for you have not been canceled. What he restores fully. What he renews, he makes beautiful. So lift your eyes, open your heart, and walk forward, not in shame, but in faith. You haven't missed it. God is not finished with you yet. The best is still ahead.